It's good, YouTube. I haven't did a deck profile in a while. I'm playing the best deck right now. This deck has went through a lot of changes, a lot of changes. I've been playing around with this deck for a long time. I think this is the best version that I have came up with. Also been playing with the side deck and the extra deck a whole lot. There's a lot of ways you can play this deck. This is going to be a deck that's going to be a staple deck in the meta. The thing with this deck is, since decks continue to change and more decks are coming out, this deck is going to consistently change every couple weeks, just because this is an anti-meta control deck and you have to play what stops the meta and what's good. And that's why this deck has changed a lot. As you've seen with a lot of other decks that came out, people going second, people going first, people going break boards. Every deck, nobody has really found out the staple. We just trying to figure out what works and what don't work. And we all going through it right now with our decks, especially the ones out of Burst of Destiny. So this deck, I changed a whole lot. I'm going to call this version 1, the final version that's playable. And I'm going to continue to change it because it's good. I like everything about it. But I had a lot of problems with it. Had a lot of good days with it too. But I also changed it a lot because I had to find out what works and what doesn't work and how to combat the current meta. But as we know, with Battles of Legends and Grand Creators coming out, this deck will change again. I'm going to stick with the deck. This is my favorite deck right now. So I'm going to keep giving y'all updated versions as well as other deck profiles. And I'll show y'all tomorrow some other stuff that we've been playing in our locals. And I'm going to give it to y'all. But this is the best deck, and I like this better than any deck right now. And I'll just tell you why. So I play one Impin. You can get it back. You can keep it on the board pretty well. This is the card that will mostly control and help you win games. It's very important. It's hard to out. And it's a card that make your opponent think, because they got to figure out how they're going to get rid of it, how they're going to stop you from gaining advantage. It's just a lot of think and going on when you're playing against this deck, especially if you don't have the right hand to beat it. This deck can really control and grind really well, and it can really finish games quick too. This card basically allows you to search a Floowandereeze spell or a trap card, the field spell, the continuous spell, or the trap card. And it also allows itself to have damage, have the opponent attack when it attacks this monster, and it's not once per turn, it's once per battle. So that's very important to keeping this card alive. And the fact that it's a skill drain to attack position special summon monsters really make this deck tier 1 just with this card. Mega Ryza, this is your board breaker. I like Snow, but I cut it just because this is the card you're going to go into to break a board. Usually you Dark Ruler, you Imperm, and then you just summon this, return, and then you just concede to, continue to finish off the game. So I think this card is very crucial to the deck. Some people played around with it, but this card is a staple. Having a 28 monster that can return 2 cards is very powerful in today's game, especially in the fact you can return a card from the graveyard too. Apex, some people debate about this. This is a staple. You need this card because it's a negate. Stop Lightning Storm, stop Evenly. It's important to have that type of protection. And I do summon this card basically every match, just because certain decks you definitely want to have that negation. And this card is the only card that really gains you that in my main deck. I also do play Triple Rabina. This is the card you want to see the most, as everybody know. This basically allows you to see any wing beast that's level 4 or lower, and you need that every turn. You want to be able to get this card starting to get you the card that you need for your certain matchup, your certain deck that you're going against. You know to get Eaglin, you know to get the barrier statue based on what you're playing. And that's why this card is crucial. And Eaglin is important because depending on what deck you play, you might want to go Impin, you might want to go Apex, you might want to go Ryza, and this card allows you to get them. So he's just as important as Rabina. Some people think Rabina is the heart and soul, but sometimes if you see this card and another card in your hand, you usually can win just with this card too. This card is important. I play 1 just because they always add back to your hand. You can always just summon them again. And the fact that you can get a banish card that with this name and just add it back to your hand anyway, it makes this card very easy to recycle and reuse any turn. So the fact that they get banished and the fact that they come back, you don't really need to run multiple of this unless you're going against a heavy meta at your locals that's very graveyard based, then I can see you changing the deck, like I said, for the meta that you're going against and playing multiple copies. But we don't play a lot of Phantom Knights and Dratrons at our locals, so one is enough. And I do think you need to play this because the recyclability do come up, especially in the grind game. Having access to any card is important, especially when you can get it back anytime. And then it does grant you the normal summon, which can come up if you're trying to break a board or build a game board that you can finish the game with. And I do play the statue. This card is outable because everybody playing Imperm, everybody's playing Chalice, everybody's playing Droplet. So don't think that this game, when you read it, is automatic game. Everybody is prepared for this card and Floodgate Monster. So this card, if your opponent hand is bad, really helps you win the game. But this card isn't game anymore like it was a couple years ago because everybody is prepared for gate monsters. So just keep that in mind. It helps when your hand isn't as good or your opponent really can't out it. But a lot of decks are playing ways to out it. So don't think this is automatic game when you read the effect. 3 shifter. This card is crucial. This card win me games. And I agree why people main decking it. I like the fact that it turns off monsters. It kills certain hand traps. And it kills certain decks. This card is a blowout card against so many decks that you'll be crazy for not main decking. Because when you're in a tournament, you don't really expect to know what your opponent, especially at a regional, sometimes you just don't know what your opponent play. And just having one card that can just win you game one is crucial, especially when you only got to win one more game to win the match. Just having one card that can win you a duel automatically is important in Yu-Gi-Oh! That's why people play Imperial Order. That's why you play this card. You get in the match, you see this card, and you win the duel because of it. That's why you need to play this card at 3, because you need to see it, and it can win you certain matchups automatically, and all you got to do is win one more game to finish the match. 3 Ash, I disagree with people. This is still good. Certain cards automatically lose to this card. Certain decks need to search. They need to see their pieces. They need to dump. Having Shifter, having Ash just slows down your opponent or make them make a mediocre to bad board, and then you can just proceed with game. So Ash is still a great hand trap. The meta is evolving, but this card is still should be a staple in your deck. The map, this card is phenomenal. This card usually wins you games too if your opponent hand is bad. Just because they be forced to summon. Usually you have Imping, so they can't activate a special summon effect. So they normal summon, and then you just break their board or clear their board or put up a negate, and then there's usually game. And the fact that you can shuffle, you can banish a card to get a card is important for consistency, especially if you see multiple of the same card and you need to see a different name. This card is broke just because it allows you to break boards. It allows you to send one card your opponent control and allow you to summon a card with one tribute, because you tribute one of theirs, you tribute one of yours. And then it also allows you to mulligan, shuffle 2 to draw 2. So that does come up a lot more than you would think, especially in the grind game. And this card really help you seal games too, because if your opponent get problematic cards or they can't get enough cards, this card just allow you to finish the game. Prosperity, this card is essential to the deck. Just being able to see your searchers, just being able to see your field spell, your continuous spell, your trap card without having to search them sometimes matter. Like sometimes you can't get to the Imping, sometimes they Valor you, sometimes they Imperm you, and you still need to see your field spells and stuff to help cripple your opponent. Prosperity will do that. And like I said, sometimes you need to see your Rabina, sometimes you need to see your England, and this is just another way to get to them if you don't see it. Same with duality. It's just a worse version of prosperity because you only can dig for 3. But the fact that you can look at your cards and still pick one of the 3 makes this card very good. And most time when you summon your bird, you can't special summon anyway, so you can just get a free card. And if they ash it or something, you don't really care, just because you didn't really lose nothing because you wasn't special summoning anyway. So you just don't get the card. Then you can just activate other cards. So don't ash this card. Book of Moon, triple. I like this more because of the defensive ability. Certain times if your opponent hand is mediocre or bad, you book a monster or you stop their attack and they only can go into 1 or 2 months, or you stop them from being able to do it, that's game. And this card just allow you to stop synchro summoning, stop link summoning, stop, fusions and everything. And then, like I said, to stop attacks. That's why I like it better than cross out, because This allow you to put a monster face down and continue to play, but it also can be used defensively, which means you can stop an attack, you can stop them from making big plays, or you can just stop their plays in general and just win that turn because you can still summon on a turn and then go for game your turn. So this card is just a little bit too versatile, and it really do hurt soul, and that's why this card is crucial, because that's one of the most popular decks. And a lot of cards need multiple cards on field face up to combo off, and this card just say no to that. I think people crazy for not playing Fisher. My theory is, if you like playing Shifter because you feel that it's that powerful, this does the same thing. The only difference is, as long as this is on the field, everything that's a monster is banished. Shifter just lasts it a little bit, and then when it goes to the grave, you can't have nothing in grave. This card is just another dimensional shifter, but it's just better, just because it stays on the field permanently and it doesn't go away until they actually get rid of it. So this card is just so powerful. That's why it's at 1. It's at 1 for a reason. And you want to have duality, you want to have prosperity, because that's just another way to get this card in general. Like, I look at it like, if you don't see Shifter, you still have this card if you don't see it, and this card will do the same result. It just kind of like a 4th Shifter, just because it does the same thing. I still like to go with Sark, just because sometimes you need that certain monster and you can't get to it, and Sark just allow you to banish it, summon one, add it to hand, then you can go back with your combos, and then you can just usually just banish a card and use its original effect, but you don't really use it for that, but you still can Sark something that you don't have. And Call by the Grave, stop hand traps. If you don't play Crossout, you still want to play Call by the Grave. It's good against Trouble Sunny, it's good against DPE, and it's still good against hand traps. So all them cards are good, so this card is good because of it. Terraforming, sometimes I don't want to search off Imping, so I just use this to search it, and then I can just search something else, and that's always good. 3 Imperm, I wanted to cut it, but I couldn't cut it, because this card just cripples so many decks, especially because you can use it on a turn when they trying to start to build a board or start a combo. This card just shuts it down, and if you go first, you can just set it and then use it on a turn anyway, or you can just use it on a turn on your turn and just shut something off, combo off, and try to, establish a board. And then I play 1 Dream in Town, ability to play on your opponent's turn and just stun them, shut them down, or close out their turn. This card is powerful, and the fact that it's searchable make it good too. And then I look at Macrocosmos. This is just another win more card where everything you banish, you don't care. Every monster you banish, you can get back. So it's just another card that's a floodgate. If people play Imperial Order, if people play Protos because they automatic win cards, this card is the same. If you like Shifter, if you like Fisher, you're going to like Macrocosmos, but it's just a little bit more OP because it banishes everything. You don't care about your spells. You don't really care about your monsters because all of them you can get back. So Macrocosmos is another floodgate that will automatically win you duels. So I would recommend playing this. Play this card, play D Fisher, because if you like Shifter, these are better versions because they stay on for the whole duel, and that cripples your opponent. Every deck sends to the grave, every deck manipulates the grave, and you say no grave. That helps you. Side deck, I ain't gonna go over real quick. I play Lancias, I play Dark Rulers, I basically play Lightning Storm, Solemn Judgment. This is crucial because you need to stop Lightning Storm, you need to stop Evenly, you need to stop, just War Wipers. And if you don't see Apex, there's just another way. Plus, it helps your back row. You don't want to get Duster sometimes. You don't want to get Lightning Storm. You don't want to get Evenly. And this card stops it. I like Rivalry too, just because it automatically wins against certain decks because you only summon Wing Beast usually. And Red Reboot is against like Eldritch. They use a lot of traps and you just need to shut them off. So I play those. And then extra deck, I don't think it matters. I just play Axis Code as the boss. Zeus, Cyber Dragon Nova, Nightingale. This card searches. This card lets you go into Zeus. This card allow you to stall. This card you summon off Nova. This card pops a card. And if you get Maximus, the same with Maximus with it. This allow you to search any winged beast. This is just to help you if you get locked in, you need to out a monster. Same with this. This allow you to get back row Floodgates. You can shuffle them back. This card allow you to pop special summon monsters. So it do come up when you summon two, they didn't kill them. You get rid of them to summon Cerberus to get rid of a threat. And that's the same thing for back row and face up cards. Mirage is important because sometimes you got to bait a bird and you don't want to summon, so you just turn it into this and then they can't target you. Anima, you summon a baby and then you can just take something and that comes up where you can win a game, steal a game, or get out of some holes because they don't expect the anima. And this is the same thing with Ints. If you can send it to shuffle a card that can't be destroyed, you need it to come up. This card goes to the grave. You can banish it to shuffle a card for monsters that can't be destroyed. You just shuffle them with Pegasus. That's why I come up. And then I just play Axis Code just because it's game. You know, you just summon it, blow up a bunch of stuff, and just go for game. Sometimes you have a bunch of stuff on board, and then you just go into a Nightmare Unicorn, go into a Cerberus, go into a Phoenix, link climb into Axis Code, clear the rest of it, and then go for game. So that's what I play. I love the deck. It's the best deck. It's the most fun deck. It's a deck that will be around for a while. And this deck is just amazing. This deck can just auto win against certain decks, and it can just control games to the point where your opponent just don't have enough. And then that's when you just finish the duel off, or you just stop them on a turn, and on your turn you just finish them off. So this deck is versatile. This deck is slow sometimes, but if it goes or your opponent hand is mediocre, you just automatically win. And you got cards like this that just shuts off certain decks, which you automatically win. This is my favorite deck. This is the best deck right now. So I hope you guys enjoy my knowledge, my analysis, and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I'll be coming back to y'all with more deck profiles through the week. New format, should be fun. Quinn Wade, Yu-Gi-Oh! Vendor, signing out. See y'all later.